Hello and welcome. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how I trimmed out all the windows in this small house build for 320 bucks. So this house has 11 windows, even though it's only 720 square feet, and it was 320 bucks. As you see me here set up for the day, I'm going to talk about where everything came from. So the boards I got straight off the shelf from Home Depot. I do get stuff from Lowe's as well, but it all depends who has what. And in today's market, with everything that's going out in the world, as you guys know, it's just hit or miss when it comes to materials. So these boards came from Home Depot. An interesting bit of information if you're curious, Home Depot gets their boards from Sweden, and Lowe's gets their boards from Finland, which is an interesting tidbit of information. So see here, you see me cutting the board. I'm notching it out, and this is going to be the windowsill. And I usually go a little bit bigger on the sill, as you can see here with the cutouts. And the reason I do that is so you can put maybe things on the windowsill, even like maybe a cell phone if you're sitting on a couch. So, and it sticks out a little bit, so it gives a nice 3D look to it. So here you see me staining this. Usually what you would do is stain everything ahead of time and then just cut everything to size and notch it out or rip it. And it is just easier that way. But since for the sake of YouTube and everything, I was trying to get things done and trying to get this house finished, I'm just doing everything at once. So this is pretty much what I've been saying through the videos. There's really no right or wrong way to do things, as long as things get done. So sometimes the toughest thing is to start somewhere. So hopefully my little channel is helping you out. Kind of gives you an idea to get familiar with this. And if you see me doing things like, for example, here, you kind of can't see it, but the table saw doesn't have a guard on it. I removed it because it scratches the wood. So just be careful with your equipment, whatever tools you have, so you don't get hurt. And you see me here using a stick basically to push the wood, so I don't put any fingers or anything close to the blade. And this is what I call my eraser, which is just sandpaper. And I just, by the way, this is the Guitar Hero portion of the episode. I guess it's coming up, there you go. But that's what I usually do to kind of make the boards nice, and I do this all the time. I filmed it a bunch of times, but I'm not going to bore you and show you every board that I do that to, but just keep that in mind. This is pretty much what I do through almost all the boards, whatever needs to be kind of prettied up. And so here, now I have to, those pieces that you see in the window, you have to rip them to size. And in this $320 job, by the way, it could have been a little bit cheaper, but I had to buy bigger boards to basically rip them down to size, because the size that I wanted, they didn't have any quality ones on a shelf. So I had to buy bigger ones and just rip them down to size. So I could have actually saved probably about at least 20 bucks, maybe a little bit more. So the job would have been technically 300 bucks, really. But it is what it is. Today's world, everything that's going on, it's kind of hard to get materials and supplies and everything else. So you got to work with what you got. And if you see me working with what I got, this is not really no fancy tools. The table saw that you see, it was $100. That's a Ryobi, so nothing fancy. The pancake compressor, that was $160 if I remember correctly, and that's Porter Gable. Everything I got from Home Depot. And that pancake compressor came with a couple of nail guns. And speaking of nail guns, I ran out of nails. And this happens all the time. You go to nail something and you're missing nails. So the tools are not fancy. The miter saw, the chop saw, that's the expensive one, because that was a little bit over 300 bucks. That's a Makita. And I absolutely love that thing. It saves so much time. So when you're thinking of building yourself a house, and hopefully you're watching this channel so you can kind of see how this comes together, because now you're seeing it. And if you've probably noticed, I have tongue and groove on the ceiling. If you're curious about that price, that was $1,000. And the guys, I didn't do that. I actually hired people to do that because those boards are almost 12 feet long. So I would be struggling with just doing that by myself. So I hired somebody to do it. So $1,000 even for this job, and that included the material and the labor. And those are 1x6s, just standard, once again, off-the-shelf wood, nothing custom. So that way, that's the way you keep things down. Because if you get any kind of spruce, or maybe you get kind of a fancy wood, you're going to pay a lot more. So just keep that in mind. So shop around, and you can do something that looks nice, and it also comes out on a fairly on a budget. And if you see the tape around the tongue and groove, I was just touching up the walls, because when the guys were putting it up, they nicked it. It does happen, so that's what that darker discoloration is. So that is pretty much almost done right there, that first window. So this house has 11 windows, and it was $320, so it comes out to basically $30 a window to do this. If I would have had the drywaller do this, it would have been, I would have saved myself the time of me doing it. And see, this is me notching everything out. I would have saved myself time of doing it, and then obviously the $300. But to me, it was definitely worth it to spend a little bit of time, put some love into the house, and trim out everything for $300. So it's a good value. And so that's that tongue and groove right there on the top. So that adds a lot of character to the house. If you have an option to do it, I would definitely save your money and put tongue and groove if you have a vaulted ceiling. It just makes it look so much better. And here I'm just nailing out the piece on the inside on the top. I don't know if you saw before, that one I used little shims to bring that down a little bit. So make sure that when I put the board in there, it doesn't show any kind of cracks or holes from the window. So that way everything has a nice seamless together look. And this is pretty much what you're looking at. It's a lot of cutting and ripping. Ripping means you're cutting the board the long way. And just chop saw, if you're cutting it, that's just you're cutting the short piece. The width, I guess. Well, depends how you look at it. And that's all that is. So you finally get yourself the size, you cut it the size, and sometimes you have to recut it because you might be off a little bit, and that's no big deal. We all make mistakes. I make them. And this is not the first or last time I'm going to make mistakes. That board is a little bit long. But I'm just holding it up there to see how it's going to sit, and if it's how the edges on the left and right side, what kind of reveal I'm going to have. So all I have to really do is cut that board to length, and that's it. And that's all you do. It's kind of like Legos. You put it together, take your time, turn off all your distractions. So leave your cell phone behind, and you can trim out your house, make it look a heck of a lot better than if it doesn't have something like this. Fairly on a budget, because for $300, this is not bad in my opinion. And the wood is all 1x wood, so there's no particle board at all, because I do not like particle board at all in my homes. I just don't like that product, because if it gets wet, it just literally falls apart like mush. So I usually get the easy stuff off the shelf, 1x3s, 1x4s, 1x5s, 1x6s, and that big thick piece, 1x8. So a little bit of everything. And like I said, this is all straight off the shelf, so you can just go to your Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards, whatever you have, and you can just pick it off there, and that's it. No special orders, no customs, so you don't have to wait, and also you're not paying premiums if you have to special order something. So this is doing things by yourself, I guess. The long pieces, you gotta be careful. Like if you see me kind of going slow, since this is a fresh stain on it, I don't want that stain to be all over the walls that I just painted. So that way, is just take your time, take it slow, try not to get distracted. So like I said, leave the cell phones at home or in the car and just go at it. And this is how it comes together. And it's simple. It's very simple. To kind of give you the rundown here, the edges on the sides, those are 1x3s. The top pieces are 1x4s, and the bottom pieces are also 1x4s. So that kind of gives you this three-dimensional look with different sizes of wood, of material, lumber, whatever you want to call it. But it's still kind of everything blends together. And then when I do my baseboard trim, I'm going to use 1x4s as well from the same material. So everything's going to pull in together. And then the trim around on the top, around the tongue and groove, that is 1x2s. I think the guys actually ripped those. But anyway, so it's a 1x2s. So everything kind of comes together. And it just has this nice seamless look that if you look at it, it just looks the way it's like it belongs there. I don't know how to describe this better, but that's just the way I think about it. And it's simple, and you don't have to mess around with any routers or anything. It's just literally cutting the boards and ripping them to whatever dimensions you need, and that's all it is. And I think it looks very, very good for such a simple job. And the best course of action would be, if you've never done it or if you're not sure if you can do it, try it out. Buy some material and practice. You'll be surprised what comes out and how it looks. And speaking of how things look, this is how it came out. So you see my fans. The electrician came out and started trimming everything out. That was that price that I showed you guys with the electrician. All that stuff is included for him to come in and start trimming everything out. And here's how the trim around the windows turned out. So it's pretty darn good. Is it perfect? No, but neither am I. So I don't mind it one bit. But am I happy with it? Absolutely. Because I always love how this turns out. It just gives the house so much character, I guess. And it doesn't cost that much. $300, well, $320, but it could be cheaper, like I said. And this is the kitchen. Same thing, double 1x6 on the windowsill, so you can maybe put a flower pot in there or anything that you want on that windowsill, so it sticks out a little bit if you can notice it. And here is that tongue and groove. Like I said, I gotta take that painter's tape off, but you have an idea. So this was $1,000. Not bad. I also think that's a good investment. So this small little house is really coming together. It's not fancy, 720 square feet, 2 bedrooms and 2 baths, but I think the floor plan is good. You don't have much wasted space in it. And it is a small house, so that is true, but you know, it is what it is, 720 square feet. Not everybody wants a big house, and not everybody can afford a big house. And as I said in the previous episodes, this house already sold. So the market, I guess, is pretty good for small homes. And a lot of people are looking for affordable housing. Because affordable housing nowadays, man, it is getting more rare and rare. And this is the window. The door. So once again, everything is going to match because that is a wood door. So I'm putting quality doors inside the house. And those doors, if you buy them from Home Depot or Lowe's, they are almost $300 a pop. I have a place here where not too far away from where I live, where I get them for $135. It's a surplus store. So they might have a ding or something. They might have some damage, but it's nothing that I can't fix. And I can use the wood putty if there's a hole in it. And I make them look brand new, and I save myself literally half the price, 50%. Because $135, and like I said, they're about $279 at Lowe's. Last time I looked at it. So that's the window trim. This is the one mistake in the house that happened, but I found a way and I corrected it. That window should be off to the left, I guess, a couple of inches. So the guys made a mistake here, not the end of the world, but it was close to that tub. So I kind of still carried that reveal, and I ripped that to size, kind of matched the look for the rest of the house. And it looks kind of awkward, but you know, it looks almost like it belongs there. And here we're gonna see something that you guys haven't seen in the previous episodes. what also was forgotten, and that's the dryer vent. So that's how the dryer is going to vent to the outside, and there's a little damper obviously on the other side, because to the left is going to be a stackable washer dryer, and to the right is going to be a water heater. And I put the big water heaters in my homes, 50 gallons, so you can take long showers. And the water heater, if you're curious on that price, since this is what this channel is all about, $297, so $300. So this is how it turned out. Let me know if you like this. $300, or $320, but I think it turned out pretty good. Thank you for watching.